COVID was, I always go back to COVID. We can all remember it's March of 2020 and you get the news, everybody has to shut down. And there was a week there where we just started fasting and praying. And it's like, okay, who are we going to pay first? Somebody said, you should go live online and just tell people what you have on Facebook. So we did our first live video and people just started finding us and they started finding our local food. One day we got 70 orders. We go from no orders online to 70 in one day.
Today's guests are Mike and Renee Wilson of Shore Sisters Farm Market in Towanda. What began as a small sweet corn stand has grown into a thriving family business that's become a cornerstone of the community, complete with greenhouses, a bakery, a cafe, events, and so much more. Together, they've built a business rooted in hard work, family values, faith, and service, all while raising a family and navigating the realities of entrepreneurship. This conversation is about growth, in business, in life, and staying connected to what matters the most. We hope you enjoy it as much as we did.
Let's go back to the question you were just saying. Why did you say yes to this?
We like new experiences. We like, we always said we want to jump on the opportunity to tell our story. And, I thought that the title of your podcast caught me, beyond the bottom line. And that's really what it is,
Perfect.
Opportunities that go beyond the bottom line.
Oh, it's so true.
Yeah. Why do you want to tell your story? I'm excited to hear.
Me too.
You guys, I feel like you're celebrities. And I was telling when I came in this morning, I told the folks upstairs, the folks from Shore Sisters were coming. They're like, "Oh, we love that place. It's amazing." And I was like, "Yeah. I get it." But why do you Well, for some people that aren't familiar with your store, where it is, what it is, why don't you just do a quick 60-second or so commercial about what you guys have together there?
Our 60-second commercial is we started 22 years ago now in a tent with sweet corn. And now we have 45 employees, a 22,000 square foot building. We're open year round and it just keeps growing. So we offer a bakery, a farm market, boutique now. We just opened a boutique at greenhouses, cafe. So it's really grown into many different avenues.
Can I ask you? Can you answer a guy question? What is a boutique? Like, what does that mean?
So we sell women's clothing.
Okay,
right next to our tomatoes.
I don't know that.
No, it's very random. It's right next to tomatoes and onions, and now we're selling sweaters and shoes, and it's just
Really?
people. Yeah, and
I love this.
That was very surprising to us. We kind of opened it in November as a trial, and people really liked it. So,
you know what it is about it? I think you guys have like a vibe. I guess that's the word everybody uses these days, right? There's when you're going down the road, just looking over like, wow, what is that? Right. And then you go in there like, wow, this is even more than I thought from the outside,
Thank you.
I'm sure that takes a lot of work.
And that's all her vision. Yeah.
Are you going to be the strong, silent one guy behind the scenes?
No, I told him he had to come with me and he was going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of vision, when you were in the tent with the sweet corn, I'm sure you didn't envision all of this.
No, not at all. And it just kept growing little by little. And, we thought, what does the community need next? What would be a cool addition? And, I just mentioned it to him and he's the go-getter and it's done. And, then it's like, okay, we have to make this happen. So,
wow.
So I saw a little bit on your background. You're a military guy, right?
Yes.
And you've served
4 years in the Marine Corps.
Yep.
Wow. Thank you for your service.
Thanks.
Yeah, you know how to get things done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess.
So what an interesting combo.
Yeah.
That was one of the questions I was going to ask. I was going to wait till deeper in the conversation is, So what's it like working together?
Challenging.
Depends on the day. Yeah.
How do you guys, do you divide and conquer the work? Like, so you're not just constantly intertwined working together side by side every day? Or?
Yeah, I think we each have our own tasks, I guess, that we work on or different passions in the business. And it all ends up just kind of blending together. And we have a lot of late night evening talks about what we're doing this week and try to get it all lined up. And so the kids have food and clothes and just keep it all going.
And how many kids do you have?
3 kids.
3 kiddos. And how old are they roughly?
We have 2 daughters, 9 and 11, and a 3-year-old son. So.
Yeah, so they're keeping you busy.
Yes,
I'm sure you bring them to work.
Yes,
Yeah.
as much as we can, as much as they want to go.
But that's a great
a
great example, right? Because a lot of folks will just say, "Oh, I have young kids. I don't have time to do that." And I hear that a lot. I don't have time to listen to a podcast. I don't have time to learn a new skill. I don't have time to do a second thing, a side hustle or whatever. And I think you guys find ways to fit it in. How do you manage that?
Some days it's not optional. I mean, they have to either go with us or we've got stuff to get done. And so they just either go in the truck with us or sit in the office and help us do this or package that or whatever trailer needs to be unloaded. And so it works.
Do you think if you thought about the magnitude of what you guys have built today, if you thought about that at the very beginning, do you think you would have said, well, that's too big. That's more than I can chew?
Definitely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We still think that every time. What are we doing? How did we get here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You know what? We always took the motto to dream big, but to grow slow. And if we would have jumped in 20 years ago into what we would have had, it would have failed in the first week, So there's so many lessons we've had to learn to get to where we are and still continuing to learn.
Wow. So you started small with sweet corn.
Yes.
Then what?
We just started with sweet corn. And part of our story is my dad is a cattle dealer. So he was going around to different farms selling cows, met Mike's grandpa, and his grandpa had sweet corn in Laceyville. So right around here in Tunkhannock. And so he was selling to different stands and wanted to start a store in Towanda. So that's just how we started. It was my sister and I. We were in high school, and my dad said, "Hey, girls, I have this opportunity. You can either milk cows or sell sweet corn." And so we wanted to sell sweet corn instead of milk cows. And so that's just what we started with. He had a guy that had a yellow auction tent, and we set that up, and we rented the auction tent and 2 plastic folding tables and got our first 100 dozen sweet corn on July 4th weekend, 2004. Sold out within a couple hours and said, "Hey, this is a product people want." And so we just kind of grew from there. My dad was, again, going to different farms. He's like, "Hey, girls, I picked up a couple boxes of tomatoes for you. Do you want to sell them?" So then we had tomatoes that day. And so that's just kind of how it evolved. And then 2 years in, I met the really good-looking corn farmer's grandson helping me load sweet corn. And, so that's how it evolved. And it just, little by little, we were able to source, we met somebody growing blueberries. So we brought blueberries to Golden Mile and White Sox. And the next time we met a peach farmer and brought peaches. And so that was the fun part, was just adding and seeing what people wanted and kind of just feeling out the market and the community and what they were looking for. And
so that takes a lot of intuition.
Right.
Yeah. Not everything succeeds,
Right.
Especially in the produce business, you'll have some waste. Oh, nobody wanted peaches today, and now you've got bad peaches. So it's a learning and risk. And
what was the worst thing you put out there that no one wanted? You thought for sure this was a winner.
I bring weird stuff home all the time.
He was at an auction on Christmas, and he thought these were going to be the hot seller. And, it was a log with this weird Santa hat on, and he just thought it was going to be the best seller. And I was like, "What did you? This is not going with my vibe." And so, the staff, it was like we were walking around the store and, "Oh, don't you like his gnomes?" And, none of the ladies liked his gnomes.
Oh, no.
Hey, they're all gone.
In the dumpster.
That's okay. You know what?
He brings home a lot of good stuff too. But
you tested the edge of where you can go, and now you know where the boundary is.
Bring it back.
That's funny.
Yep.
So we talked a little bit before we started rolling about just social media and everybody, to be in any sort of service or retail, you need to have some sort of a significant presence, and you guys do. But we talked about, like, sometimes you get too involved in it and it can overtake you. So how do you hear that feedback of what the customers want? Are they just brazen enough to tell you why they're in your store? Or
yeah, people are very bold for sure.
Yeah. Good and bad.
Yeah, good and bad. And obviously it does come back to the bottom line. Sometimes, if it's selling, then that's what they want, but if it's not, then obviously that wasn't what the community wanted or our customer base wanted. And
I noticed when we did, we've done client events where we have, it was fine when it was 100, but then we get like 300, 400, 500, and certain nameless facilities can cook well for 100, 150, but when you get 250, they start to mess up the food. And we never had a shortage of people that would come up to me at the end of the night and say the carrots were undercooked or this was that. And I'm just like, man, it's just always something,
It's
right?
exhausting. And you have to have very broad shoulders and
Mhm.
not
do.
take it personally. And I think that's where, like me on social media, I was taking everything personally, and trying to make everybody happy. And you just can't. You just
Mhm.
cannot make every single person happy all the time.
So your father and your father knew each other?
Grandfather.
Grandfather.
My grandfather.
I
yeah.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, they're both dairy farmers in
Mhm.
Bradford County, so they had known each other through business.
That feels like very, very serendipitous how all this.
I
thing
said it
kinda
always
came
feels
in.
like a country song, and I think
Yeah.
that's why I like
Aw,
telling our
that's-
story.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it's so
it's
cute.
2 weeks before he was going to boot camp and I was going to college. We met and then
Wow.
we went our separate ways and did the whole writing letter thing. He went overseas 2 times and, I was in business school trying to do that. And, when he got out of the service and I was out of college, it just felt right. And we were able to be married and grow the business from there. But
Aw.
That
Yeah,
is
I
a-
love that.
At
Yeah,
least
it's
the
a
song is
beautiful
not a
song.
movie.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, from a guy's perspective, when you're over there and probably have a lot of time to think in the midst of like a lot of hectic activity too, but like, did you think about like what my life's going to be when I get back here and what I'm going to do? Or
Not so much at that point. I think towards the end of my enlistment, I think it's like you start planning and we were writing back and forth and talking back and forth at that point. But I don't think we necessarily had it planned out the way it happened. But we got married. I got out in June and we got married the next February. So it was shortly after. And then
yeah, he was going to do sweet corn and I was just going to keep the small store running.
Mhm.
By that point, I had taken some time off college and put up a little skid shed. So we were into a 14 by 40 skid shed and had some tablecloths for my tables, real
Uh-huh.
fancy.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of running that and that was the plan. And that kept growing. And we were married. He was doing sweet corn. So he took over his grandfather's sweet corn business and was wholesaling to all the different markets. So at that point, he was growing 80 to 100 acres of sweet corn, hand picking. It was crazy.
Hand picking.
yeah.
1,000 dozen one night. They hand picked
Mhm.
him and his guys.
How
Wow.
many guys can do that much corn?
I think there was probably 8 or 10 of us at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
And and then the retail business, I was running that and it was just chaos, the first year of marriage, working 80, 100-hour weeks. And so we decided we wanted to pursue the retail business on Route 6. So we just kind of pivoted and changed there. But yeah, I don't think we ever planned on growing the retail business the way it did.
did I
Wow.
read somewhere on your website that location was an ice cream shop?
So my grandmother, and it just it goes back, but in 1980, my grandfather was going to the feed mill and saw that it was for sale. And it used to be a gas station in an old rundown motel, just very rundown. And he had seen that it was for sale. He had a Ford tractor dealership on a back dirt road and said, I'll sell some tractors on Route 6, where it's busier. And my grandmother said, well, if you're going to do that and make me sit down there and sell tractors, I'm going to have ice cream. And sell ice cream.
I
So
love it.
she had opened a little store. It was kind of a convenience store from 1980 to 1994. And the way it worked is once she retired, she couldn't sell the property. So my parents bought it to help ease the financial burden from their parents. So it was sitting vacant. They were trying to sell it and it wasn't ever, it never went through. So that's why my dad said, hey, I have this vacant lot, 2 high school girls, met Tom Champlavere, wants to sell sweet corn. So that's how it started.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're coming from a line of very ingenuitive, very entrepreneurial go-getters, see an opportunity.
Was in our,
Yeah. Yeah.
And hard
Make
work.
creating
Mhm.
opportunities,
Yeah.
really.
Mhm.
Yeah. I love this.
What do you guys do for fun?
coach basketball.
Yeah. Our
Wait a minute.
kids-
I'm sorry. I said fun.
Right. Yeah, girls basketball.
It can be hectic
Yeah.
doing that
Yeah.
too. I've done. I've been a great assistant coach.
Yes.
I don't qualify for a head coach.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
event.
not signing up for that.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
I'll watch. That's
Yeah.
incredible, though.
Our-
They have
our-
so much fun.
Yeah, they love it. Both the girls love it, and I'm sure Kit will at some point. But yeah, we're real involved in their school, and yeah, we like to work there when we can.
And so still running quite an extensive organization, you still have time to do that. You've carved out that time.
Yeah, as best we can. We've got a lot of really good people at the store that kind of step in and keep things rolling when we're not there, or if we're out in the truck or whatever we're doing. They run a lot of the behind the scenes stuff and keep things rolling for us.
Yeah, you said you have 40 employees?
Equals out to 40-time FTEs, but we're probably about 60 on payroll.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. I think that's like most shocking to people is how many people it takes to run
Yeah.
run it.
Some
in
of
the
that's
different
got to be
departments.
seasonal, right?
Some seasonal, yes. Yeah.
Still, that's a pretty big operation. And it's all at that location primarily.
Yep. Yeah, it's a challenge. All of the different avenues that we have, it's high labor, low margin. Like it just takes a lot of input to make it go, and it's not easy.
Yeah, it sounds like you must have to have a lot of processes if you have a lot of different things that you're selling.
That's probably what we've changed as much as building the new building is like the infrastructure behind it. We always kind of put stuff out and it sold, and then we always reacted as far as building the infrastructure behind it. When we did our building project, we did a lot more behind the scenes stuff, put a lot more processes in place, had more warehouse space, so we could keep up with it and make it more efficient. And I don't know if it's all the way there by any means, but efficiency is very important.
It's usually, it never feels like it's as good as it should be. Right?
That's right.
But it's so much better than it was like a year or two.
Yeah,
Sure.
I tell remember all the time, remember when, remember when. But yeah, there's always improvements we want to make and strive to make.
So how do you guys do, like when you talk about like the number crunching, the accounting and things like that, did you have any background in that and business background? Let me ask that, other than family working hard. Wait, why are you pointing the finger?
I know.
So when we started back in the shed and our old building, it was literally like once a month we would bring a box full of receipts and we'd have to go through one at a time and sort all that stuff out and put it in the right files and all that. And
It's like your worst day of the month.
it's
right?
horrible.
Right.
It was horrible. Since then, we've got a great general manager that helps a lot, and we have a CFO that helps us part-time, and he's made some huge changes and huge improvements for us, and that's been a big improvement.
But we grew up learning from our parents.
For sure.
You don't spend more than you make and charge more than you buy it. You know what I mean?
What a radical concept.
Right? Don't spend more than you make and reinvest back into the business. For many, many years, we weren't taking a salary, just put back in what, everything you could and grow it from there and keep your debt down. And so, yeah, we have processes now with our accounting and QuickBooks and all of that, but the principles are still there that you can't just spend whatever you want. You're watching your numbers, you're watching your waste. And
Yeah, I find it interesting. Did you guys go to college or anything like that? And what was your major in college?
I majored in business management.
Oh, okay.
But I learned more in a week of being home
That's
than
what I
I
was
did in
saying.
4 years of.
For sure.
In that case, I won't ask you where you went to college, but I think a lot to can associate and relate to that.
I
should
said
say.
the joke was I took a semester off to start the business and my dad was helping me, and I said, we did our first deal and he gave me a C+. I said, Dad, I've never gotten a C+ in my life. I'm going on the dean's list, whatever. And I go to the Glen Shores Business School and get a C+. So I learned, just so much from our grandparents and our parents. And
Speaking of that, since it seems like family is just wicked important to you guys. Your grandfather, your dad, like are they still around?
Yeah.
And are they? What do they think about what's going on? Are they like you're way over your head? Or are they like, wow? So
my dad stops in just about every day for a parfait and a food. And it's like
parfait.
Yeah, it's my bet. That's one of my highlights of owning the business is having a place my dad can stop in. And, he was kind of the inspiration for our Come As You Are theme is we never wanted to get so big where the dairy farmers didn't feel comfortable stopping in their work clothes. And so we put "Come as you are" on our wall. And, we want him to feel comfortable in his boots and cow truck to pull in to Shore Sisters. And his same with his grandparents. So I think his mom works and his dad works for us part-time, seasonally, helping us keep things going. And my parents are very supportive. And it's just very, it's come full circle. I'm so grateful everybody's still alive to see it, but they're heading to DC with us in a couple weeks to see us accept an award, and that they get to see the businesses they helped us start now be recognized. And
so beautiful.
That is great.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what the award is?
Go ahead.
So it's the National Rural Small Business of the Year Award. Wow. So we got the regional and the national award.
Congratulations.
I thought that's what you called.
No,
well,
yes, of course it is exactly right.
Our research team really found that.
Yeah. Shout out to Britt Dorman for making that.
Wow,
connection.
Congratulations.
So it's very exciting for me to be able to take my parents and his mom there to see us accept that, because it goes back to her wanting a bike as a kid to start the sweet corn business. So now for her to see us in DC getting this award, all because of the sweet corn that she wanted to grow to get a bike.
Wow.
So toughest question. If they make your life into a movie, who's going to play your role?
I don't know.
You have to answer, man.
Yeah.
Come
When?
on.
I think it's a when question.
Yeah.
My family always said Melissa McCarthy.
Okay.
Oh, they've thought about this.
Oh,
Yeah, Netflix is on us. I know it.
Yeah.
No.
Pressure's on you, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's it? I don't know his last name. They said Jason. What's his name?
Aquaman.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, Momo.
Yeah. I said that.
That's a good one.
Sure.
There you go.
Sure.
Love it.
Perfect.
I'm sure of all his roles, he picked Aquaman.
Yep.
I have a random question. So your sister, what's she up to?
Raya. So she didn't really like the retail business. She was going to pre-med. So she went to school the same way where I went in Philly and went that route. And now she's actually back in business. And they own Collier's barbecue restaurant in the Valley, which is, the Valley from here is Athens. But so they've gotten back into small business and are liking that. And then my other sister, there were 3 of us girls, and she came home and is now managing the cafe. And so she has taken, her business. She's just taken the cafe and run with it and done a very good job at that, growing it. So
wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's like
So it really is a family.
A city within a community.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's on the horizon for Shore's?
Good question.
we're kind of at this pivotal point. We talked a lot about pivoting and, where we've gotten to the point where we have 45 full-time employees. We've been approached by other people to come and start one. We were approached by Tunkhannock. Can you bring a Shore Sisters to Tunkhannock? We were approached by somebody in Binghamton. We have this building. What can we do to get you here? And so we did a lot of thinking and just what it would take to grow more. And we don't feel like that's where we're leading now. We started the flower patch last year. That was a big thing. So now people can come and pick flowers. So that was an addition. And then this year we're opening up a little coffee bubble truck. We're calling it Sips by Shore Sisters. And so that will be in Athens, Pennsylvania. But so that's the next step for this year, is just taking little steps that is going to push us into a large business.
Who's the innovator there that thinks of the flower garden and the sips and things like that? Is it?
I'd say I was like, I think a food truck's the next step. And that night he had found one online and had it bought. So it's just,
Oh, you're putting me to shame.
No,
That's
he makes it
incredible.
happen. I might voice something, but he's the one that makes it happen. And he's the one that's, busting out the tables and fitting into, the espresso machine and figuring out all of that. And just, there's so much that goes into it. It's like we couldn't do what we do without each other. I think that's where we complement each other, and we know our weaknesses and fill in the gaps there with team members with great team members.
You better be careful what you say. I wouldn't
My
you like to rob a
weaknesses.
bank.
Yes.
Mike's got the getaway car bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but really, that has to be such a sense of fulfillment for you to see her vision and actually bring it to life. That has to feel so good. And then for you to have the vision and then see it come to life, that has to feel
It's
amazing.
been fun. Yeah.
So that must just keep snowballing. That energy must just keep going and going and going. It's
Most
just
days.
multiplying.
Most days.
So what do you do for rest?
We take our Sundays off,
Mm-hmm.
go to church as a family in the morning, and that's kind of our day to relax and reset. And
And our staff takes Sundays off. No one works on Sundays, and we need that. And
Yeah, that's great.
Do you guys get a true Sunday off, or is like the afternoon filled with texts and emails and
we try to shut down. I mean, like the kids are in sports, so sometimes they've got something that's going, but for the most part, we try not to do any business on Sunday and preserve
we'll get
that.
to check, we'll go and check things. We'll check the coolers and we'll water, and as a family, we'll go in the greenhouses and water, and it's not that high pressure of being open and retail customers there, so it is restful, even though that we're still keeping an eye on things.
So you guys might be really good, both of you, to ask this question. So I work with a lot of business owners, and there's just a national epidemic where the Gen 2 seems to not have the same traits and DNA, right? But you guys already are Gen 2 and 3 of hardworking families. How do you get that passed on to the kiddos, and ensure that they're not doing exactly what you want, but the main core of what made you guys successful is instilled in them?
I think a lot of it is example and prioritizing and living it out, not just preaching it, like to live it, and so they can see it. And I mean, we all had great examples growing up, and to see, the Sundays are our day off or whatever whatever it is. But I think it's important. I think it's a challenge. I hope we succeed in it, but I think it's every parent's challenge is to instill that work ethic and morals and all of those traits in their kids.
Yeah, they say kids don't always do what you tell them to do, but they will do what you do. Yeah,
For sure.
and you seem like great role models.
10 years from now, we should have your kids in here.
Yeah.
What do you think of your mom and dad?
Yeah.
You guys wrote down some notes, and I want to make sure.
I felt bad because I was supposed to email them to you, I think.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's more just like guidelines.
Yeah, so I just didn't want to draw a blank. So
I don't know if that's on your notes or if it was in the questions. I can't remember, but I'd like to hear. I always think it's interesting from a business owner that has had some dark days, right? I'd like to know. I know what I did to get through those and who I talked to, who was my resource, my rock, if you will. And I have a couple in my own life, but what about yours? I'm sure this wasn't a smooth sail, straight line kind of a thing. And it sounds like almost the speed of your growth might have been, ironically, some of your biggest challenge. Most people have the opposite.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious what your biggest challenge was or challenges.
Well, do you want to go?
It's just a long list. It's only an hour show.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So where do we start?
I think honestly, our faith and our commitment to praying over all of our decisions, I think that's the foundation of it.
Okay.
I think both of our families are, they all share the same values that we do, so they know what's important. They all have a lot of life experience. And I think even some of our vendors that we've got set up with, and I mean, our growers and our people that have been through a lot of the things that we've been through, they might be a couple steps ahead of us, or I guess we've never had a lack of input from people around us. And so
welcome or not.
Yeah. But you weed through that. And I think it's some of it's trial by fire. Some of it's, we've had, like she said, we had the 80 and 100-hour weeks, and then we had kids, and we did have we had another business that was a venue for weddings, and we did that. We had another kid, and we realized that we couldn't sustain that level at that point in life. So, we sold that and moved away from that part of it. So I think just, I don't know, we talk through a lot of things and plan for a lot of things, and we stay flexible, and well, we've just been blessed with a ton of opportunities that probably makes it easier for us. Like, we thankfully we haven't really had a lot of situations where we had to decide who to pay when, thankfully.
COVID I always go back to COVID.
Mhm.
I think we can all remember as business owners that March of 2020, and you get the news, everybody has to shut down.
Mhm.
And who is what was the word they used? Necessary business,
Mhm.
you know, what was the word they used?
Essential.
Essential.
Yeah.
Who's an essential business? So, as a farm market, are we essential business? As a cafe, are we essential business? As a greenhouse, are we an essential business? And there was, a week there where we just started fasting and praying, and it's like, okay, who are we going to pay first? And we're going to pay our staff first, and then we're going to pay our vendors, and then we'll pay the electric bill. Like going down that line, and we don't know where this is going to lead. And just as business owners, when every other business was shutting down, we're going to stay open as long as they let us. And that was a pivotal turning point in our business. We had opened the cafe in 2019 that fall. We didn't have any seating. So he had spent the winter, again, another story we don't have time for, but we had gotten this glass greenhouse. So he spent the winter taking that down, putting it up. We were ready to open April 2020 with seating. So we had, maxed out our lines. Like, we can talk about that because we're in a financial, setting, but you max out your line of credit. You're getting ready from a slow winter to open in the spring, and all of a sudden you're not allowed to have dine-in eating. So we just said, okay, God, like, who are we going to pay? What are we going to do? And then 2020, the food shortages hit, and somebody said, you should go live online and just tell people what you have on Facebook. So we did our first live video, and people just started finding us, and they started finding our local food because you couldn't get a pickup time. You couldn't
Mhm.
find flour, you couldn't find meat. And so people are like, oh, this little store in Towanda, we have nothing else to do. We can drive an hour and go pick up some meat and flour. Oh, they're open. We can get coffee and browse the greenhouse. So 2020 was pivotal for us. We were able to do online pickups even before Aldi had it. So
Wow.
we were getting one day we got 70 orders. We go from no orders online to 70 in one day. So I call up my family, Mom, can you come help me pull all of these orders? And so we're just trying to get these orders out and getting people fed. And that was just a very pivotal moment in our business. And it was very challenging. Everybody was challenged that year in business. But it ended up being to the good of
Mhm.
to the good,
Mhm.
And so that's when our social media ended up, exploding, and eventually we were able to open the glass greenhouse and have dining. And so,
Glad you didn't have to take it back down.
oh man,
Mhm.
thousands of pieces of glass.
Yes.
Is it hard to believe that that was over 6 years
It's
ago?
crazy.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just doing the math, I'm like, wow.
Mhm.
To
Mhm.
think like we're on the other side of it.
Mhm.
But
So-
things have never gone back though.
When you did that live Facebook video,
Yeah.
how awkward was that?
Horrible. And I made him do it. I said, if I'm doing it, you're doing it. But that truly has been, a change in our business, is doing those lives. And I still, we still do them often, and people watch them. I don't know why or how, but they're watching
Mhm.
them. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard a number of uh, folks talk about, ironically, COVID as a pivotal point
Mhm.
to the better
Mhm.
of their business, because it forced like a reset, and it forced them to think out of the box. It forced them to get out of their comfort zone. And I think anybody who's run their own business for a not long enough time period knows that you have a lot of discomfort, and you have to just get comfortable with being discomfort.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's
Uncomfortable.
comfortable,
Yeah.
That's what
Well,
we
thanks.
say.
That's
all
why
the
I don't
time.
make
Yes.
slogans.
Are we ever gonna feel? Yeah. Is this feeling ever going to go away of just pushing to grow and having to grow, and that stress of taking on more debt and growing, and the challenges of growth, and we haven't figured out how to stop it yet. But yeah, that was the reason we ended up expanding the building. It only took a year or two after COVID to realize, hey, this building isn't functioning anymore. And then that's when we started researching the larger facility.
Mhm.
So how do you guys come to when you go and expand like that with a larger facility? How do you measure that out and then go, all right, we're doing this or we're not doing this? Like, how do you make that decision?
I think it took us longer to do that and prep for it than it actually did to build it. I think like we really had to assess, what could we afford to do? What could we make the payments on? What can we physically do? I mean, can we stay where we're at, or are we going to start going backwards at that point?
And that's what had happened.
Yeah, we
started going back, not backwards, but we could see the writing on the wall of like, this isn't going to work long term. We're in our mid 30s. If we were in our 50s, 60s, we probably would have stayed where we were at. But we decided, like we're going to have to close a department. Like the bakery is no longer functioning with the cafe, with the greenhouse, with the events. We either close the department and stay where we're at, or we just go for it. So it was a 2-year process of researching, working with the SBA to, do a business plan, figuring out what you can afford and realizing that it's going to cost 2 or 3 times what you think you can afford. And, what are you going to have to increase and what are you going to have to do better to make those payments? And then ultimately it's just a step of faith,
Mm-hmm. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
You hope.
Not always.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about your place is it's almost like I won't say it's like a mall within itself.
That's what I was thinking.
But it's it's an experience. So like a lot of times when you're going out for certain things out to town or to the city, whatever, you got to go over here and then you got to go like 10 blocks over here, this, or you got to go a mile down the road for that. It's kind of like the stuff that you offer is very similar, this sort of related. It's all kind of stuff you'd want to make in the same trip. Plus you have, the cafe. So like, let's just stop and get something to eat. And then you have like a million snacks and goodies. And I don't know how you source it all.
Again,
it's 20 years worth of finding and changing suppliers and building relationships with people. And that goes to this person, and this person's brother does this, and this person's sister does that. And so, yeah.
Do you guys have certain criteria like before you even look at something going on your shelves or being offered to your clients?
Yeah, I do. We get emails all the time. I make this. Would you consider, And so again, it wants to fit in that vibe of Shore Sisters. And one is cost. We live in a rural area and we have to be aware of our customer base and our margins. And so if it's going to be too pricey with low margins, then we probably won't give it space on our shelf. And like sustainability, is it something that somebody's going to put on my shelf and then next week not even be able to stock, So that kind of, I don't like empty shelves, and you want consistency for your customers. Customers get frustrated if they get a product one week and can't the next. And so all of that goes into it. Yeah. And the challenge of, you don't want to look like a grocery store. You don't want to become a big box store, but you want to have enough stuff to offer your customers and make it worth their trip. So,
wow, you're weighing a lot with every decision. Yeah. Large and small. Do you have decision fatigue at the end of the day? You're like, please.
Yeah.
Someone make me dinner.
Yes, exactly. Tell me what to make for dinner. I'll make it. Just tell me.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. The people will drop a lot of comments for you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's interesting. You say that what you just said is, I see that a lot in my industry. I see that a lot. Firms that like, people don't like working for a large firm, so they go start their own. And they start, it's just 1 or 2 advisors or whatever in my case. And the next thing you know, it grows big. And as you grow big, you start to have to put some specific policies and procedures in, and it starts to feel, the bigger you get, the more it feels like what you ran from.
Yeah. And that's the challenge we're feeling, especially with staffing and policies and procedures there that we're having to put in place that weren't necessary 10 years ago in the business. And, sometimes it takes that feel out of it. And I think that's probably one of the things that makes me saddest is we can't function the way we did when we were in a tent.
Yeah. Maybe you sleep better. But it's you're to grow with purpose and know your limitations. Like when you talked about going to Binghamton or going to wherever, I forget what. Tunkhannock. Yeah. It's just like, what? I don't think we can provide the same experience. And it's the experience we're super proud of. It's not the bottom line. It's not the the
And
size
so
of the
much
lot
of our
there.
experience is our people and our staff. And that's what I said. If we could replicate, you know, some of our staff, we would do that in an instant. But the people that have helped us get to where we are not replicatable. That's really why we have it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find those people? Because most people struggle in that department.
Yeah.
We're very blessed. Yeah.
That's a challenge. I think our staffing, like we have a really good group of core people. Some of them have been there for a lot of years.
And they believe in the business and they've seen us grow and they're along for it and committed. But then, you know, we are struggling because we've gotten to need so many people that we're hiring people that, you know, I've never even shopped here and I'm going to put in my application and then they realize that this isn't what they maybe thought it was and don't have that same loyalty or same commitment to Shore Sisters.
But it sounds like the community also helped you build this.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's not just you built something and then the community came. Like you built this with the community in mind. So you couldn't replicate that without kind of having to start over in a new community, right?
Yeah.
Because that would turn into something totally different.
Right. And they're not going to know Shore Sister. You know, the new community isn't going to know Shore Sisters. And we've said all along, like the challenge with building a building that size is we needed a building to host, you know, our Saturdays that are very busy, that we get a lot of out of town people on Saturdays that are willing to drive an hour or two. But we need something that our Tuesday Towanda base can come in and still pick up their groceries and still get the same experience. So that, like, we built it, we were trying to build it for everybody, right? Like to bring a destination and bring jobs and bring people to Towanda, but also to still service our customers that got us where we were today. You know, the same customers that were shopping in our tent and in our shed are still coming in, and we don't want them to not feel welcome or appreciated or valued either. So that's the challenge.
Sounds like you're doing it though. Just to have that intention and keep that in mind. I'm sure you're doing it much more than you think you are.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I hope so.
I kind of like the one of the vibes I get from you guys here today is that it's cool to be here, but it's a little uncomfortable to talk about like success. It's almost like you're going to jinx yourself.
Knock on all the wood and, you know.
And we're just not raised to be braggadocious. You don't seem like the type, right?
Well, we were saying like what, you know, it's not us that got here, you know, it's all the help along the way. And we got this award and, you know, we're getting a lot of recognition, but we would not be here without our staff. We would not be here without our family and without our customers and our support. And, you know, ultimately, like we never envisioned this. This is all like a God thing that this was his plan all along. And we're just glad to be part of it and along for the ride.
So beautiful. So you don't know what's next.
Nope.
No. I've got a Ford 5000 tractor tore apart out back that we've got to get put back together tomorrow.
So we can plant flowers and, you know, we're just taking it day by day and trying to keep our kids going and keep the staff there and keep stuff on the shelves. And
well, I like this is probably a silly analogy, but like, I think a business when it's first starting, it's kind of like almost like popping a clutch. Like you got to get out and push that thing and then jump and pop. But once you get it going or get the plane going or whatever analogy you want to use, it's that heavy work, that push. You can't do it forever. So either it's going to fly, it's going to take off, or it's not. But there's an inflection point, right? But once it starts moving, then everybody's like, "Hey, let me jump in." And we have a feel. Maybe this is where you're going, right? We have this, you know, what we do in our office at least is like, we'd love for you to be part of the team. You're the right person, but you got to start by pushing us a little bit more and getting us going to the next level and the next level. And when you hire right, you know, you always take a leap of faith because you have a honeymoon phase and everybody can look good on a resume and stuff. But when it's the right person and you see them pushing and doing all those extra hours, I always say outside the margins, right? Not 9 to 5, but early in the morning, later in the evening, doing whatever it takes to get their role finished and completed. as an owner, you're like, yes, this is the right person to bring on board, and it sounds like you added a lot of folks to the team that are like that.
And the challenge is, as a small business with small margins, and is how do you keep them, and how do you compensate and reward them? And that's our next challenge, is just the growing and the infrastructure of people and investing in people, and how do we continue to do that? So,
Are you also HR manager?
no, we just
Oh.
hired our first HR manager.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was another big step.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a
our
pivotal
general manager was doing a phenomenal job. It just, she started out 7 years ago and the business was one place, and now it's a different place. And oh my goodness, I'm sorry, we're asking you to do 3 people's jobs. So
Yeah.
let us take one of them off of you. So,
Yeah.
I think that's a normal transition.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes we've hired folks for certain roles to find out they are okay at that role, but they're really good over here. And when you ask them, invite them to expand on that, it's usually like a very big wind in their sails, right? Because they're like, oh, thank God. I didn't like doing the books or whatever it was, I was going to say, your one daughter's here. Does she want to be a podcast star? Jump in here and probably can't get her to come in.
she's pretty
I don't know.
shy.
Yeah.
Ada, you want to come over?
Ada, what's it like living in the business with your parents?
I think it's really fun getting the experience of like owning a business and doing all the work and stuff.
Okay.
You like it?
Mhm.
What's your favorite part?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I like it all.
Really?
Would mom agree with you?
I don't know.
It's probably nice hanging out with family and
Yeah.
getting to go there. And do your friends come into the store too when you
Yeah,
see them?
Sometimes they do.
Tell them about how you get to help with classes, because that's one thing you guys look forward to.
Yeah, we get to like help serve with classes and help them with like the events and stuff and like help bus tables and stuff. That's really fun too.
Ah, that's awesome. Such a great experience.
I'll always laugh because I think she was about 5. She's 9 now, but Allie,
11. She's
No,
11.
yes, our other daughter, Allie, was like, "Okay, we got to go bust up those potatoes instead of bust the table." She kept going, "I bust up the potatoes," and like, so they were busting tables at 5 and 6 years old and learning register after hours and stuff like that. So that's been a good experience for them. But
I did the same thing when I was your age. I grew
Yeah.
up in a restaurant and I was doing the same thing.
yeah,
I loved it.
washing dishes,
Yes.
taking orders, and
You get to make a little money too, right? Yeah. Can't beat that.
What's
Buy
your
those
favorite?
squishies.
What's your
Yes.
favorite
Oh,
food?
squishies.
The squishies. I was just gonna say, what's your favorite food
Oh,
at the restaurant, at the cafe?
Like the acai bowls.
Acai bowl. Yeah, they're so popular.
Also very trendy.
yes.
Yes.
And we were one of the first in Towanda, and that's, I think, was been unique to us, is because we are in such a rural area. We've been able to bring new things to the community that might not be new in other
Yeah.
more populated areas.
Wow. So do you carry Neatos?
I just ordered some.
Did you?
I did. They're
Look
coming
out.
in May. Yeah.
Look out.
Yes. Yeah.
They're going to sell out in minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. The little dumpling things, and they're coming in May.
Oh,
so.
wow.
I don't even know
You
what
have no
those are.
idea.
You're
My
right.
daughters are the same ages as you and your sister. And yeah, we can't find a Neato anywhere.
Yeah.
This is a food.
No, it's a
Oh.
squishy, like a fidget
Yeah.
toy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Which makes perfect sense at a farm market, right? But it works in our kids' corner.
Absolutely, it does.
Um,
Yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you for getting on camera.
Thank you.
I hope she was on camera. I think the camera was picking up over there.
It's okay.
We'll get at least an arm and a voice in there. What did you guys write down we didn't cover that you were like one of the questions I want to ask you before we kind of wrap up is what keeps you up at night right now? Because you're in a place right now where you have some freedom, flexibility, and more stability maybe than you've had in your life, but also bigger ideas and bigger things. Like what kind of makes you, maybe nothing keeps you up at night,
Our
but
3-year-old.
Other than our 3-year-old.
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I would say your analogy of a vehicle in motion, and it feels like we're going in motion. What keeps me up at night is at any point you could get a flat tire, and at any point this could stop. And we are very much aware of that with COVID. At any point, there's nothing keeping our doors open and people coming in through our doors. There's also no guarantee of staff showing up that day. So it's not uncommon for me to wake up to a message every single day and said, who's not coming in or who quit today? Or, it just happens over holidays or a busy week. There's bound and determined for somebody to get upset and walk out. And so that's really what keeps me up at night is you have this vehicle going, you have this good thing going, but it takes so many people to keep it going and to keep it running. And as much as we can do to try to keep people happy and try to make it a great work environment, it's still people, right? And so you're still relying on other people.
What's cool about a small community, though, is I think your store is a great example. You provide an experience, and it's a unique experience, right? So people root for you to be successful, and they'll give you like, hey, you get one free pass or you get a couple free passes because I know what it's like. And there's probably a ton of small business owners that are going through your doors and they're like, I've been there on that day. I'll just get my stuff and go, but thank you. Better luck tomorrow.
So I think that's what keeps me up at night.
And you've overcome 100% of your challenges so far. So you're capable of anything.
That's one way to look at it. I like that. You're sticking with the 3-year-old though.
That's your story.
No, I think like we're in a unique area because I think Bradford County, we're insulated from a lot of the ups and downs in the economy. I think with like the gas business and the infrastructure that brings. So I don't feel like we feel the snap back and forth of the economy, which is a great thing. But again, that could change at any time, or something catastrophic in the economy could happen. But I think every business has that concern, and I think people change and people's ideas of what they want to buy or what they want to do change all the time. So I think we need to be flexible to be able to adjust to that.
Yeah, it sounds like you are very flexible and very nimble to start with in this business, which is a beautiful place to be, because if one arm for some reason isn't doing well, you still have all the other verticals to support it. Yeah.
And that happens very often.
Sure.
Different departments are doing better at different times. And if we weren't able to pivot back in COVID and we were only a greenhouse or only a cafe, we would have been shut down. But because we had the groceries, we were able to pivot and push that.
Brilliant.
So what do you think you guys are looking like or doing in 10 years from today?
Probably a lot of the same. I mean, hopefully if our kids want to be involved, like hopefully they'll have that desire, but if not, that's fine too. But I think we'll probably be doing something similar. I would say hopefully not quite as much of the day-to-day intensity, but if that's what it takes, that's what we need to do.
I don't like to say no to the thought of different locations with different, we've thrown around the idea of not franchising, but, if somebody wanted to open a Shore Sisters at a different location and they wanted to take on that responsibility, like, I don't think we'd be opposed to in 10 years. Right now, no, because our children are little, but we're right at that threshold of becoming a large business. So it's like once you can't stay this small business anymore, there's nothing really holding us back from becoming a larger business. But at this point, we're trying to stay into that, under 50 small business. But if we cross that threshold, there would be opportunities for more locations or.
Yeah. If you grow in the wrong way, you become, I don't know, like a large box store,
And that's nothing we would ever dream of or consider. But if we had certain people, whether it be our children or, current management or something that we felt could produce the same environment in the same store somewhere else, we wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah. For you, your business and your brand is a reflection of you. So it would be a matter of defining that so that some of those things could be duplicated and not diluted if someone else took over, because it would naturally become a reflection of them and not you.
Yes.
So yeah, that's very cool though.
It's hard to do. It sounds like you're already doing it. The processes, right? Just this is what we do, soup to nuts, A to Z, whatever, and then hand it to somebody that believes when we opened, we just talked about different Stonehouse places, right? And they wouldn't be successful if they didn't have the superstars in there, the individual advisors and the team behind them that are offering the same kind of stuff we're offering at our other locations, but they put a little bit of their own flair, right? It's and that flair is designed to be attractive to that particular community.
Right.
And I think our clients appreciate that. Your customers appreciate that. So hard to duplicate though. And it's just like,
and it's not a goal at this point. That's not a goal but when you say 10 or 20 years, that's a lot of time. You know,
Sure is.
10 years ago, we were not where we are now.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows where 10 years would be.
I think there's nothing you can't achieve that you both want to. You're a great team.
Deep breath, like, oh, here we go.
So inspiring.
He's sticking to the tractor right now. Gotta get that. The hours are ticking. Well, on that note, we're coming close to an hour. So, is there anything that we didn't cover that you want to cover and make sure we put out there? You were excited to tell your story. I think you do a good job of it on your website. It's always better to hear it in person, though.
Yeah.
Appreciated that. Anything else that you guys want to make sure that folks should know about Shore Sisters or?
We're hiring. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No, I want to thank you guys for the opportunity. This has been really fun and a new experience for us. And now we'd love to have anybody listening stop in and see us and see what we're all about.
So tell us the location and the hours you guys typically open.
We are open Monday through Saturday, year round. So that was new, that's been a evolution there. But Mondays through Friday, we're open 9 to 6 in the market, 7 to 5 in the cafe, and then they're both open 9 to 5 on Saturdays. So,
right in White Sox and the Golden Mile.
Yes, right in White Sox and the Golden Mile.
All right.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much.
It
wasn't painful. Wasn't painful.
No, it was great.
We didn't even go to my notes. You guys were great. So.
Once you write it down, it's already up here. You probably said everything. Although you'll get home tonight, you'll be like, oh, I forgot to talk about this. I want to hear about whether or not you got that thing started by the end of tomorrow.
Okay. I'll be sure to check in.
All right. Thank you, guys. Well, we do a little.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Beyond the Bottom Line. Thank you for listening. If this conversation sparked something for you, please let us know. Follow, share, or leave a review. It helps us keep having the conversations we love that you love to listen to. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more real talk from real leaders. Until then, here's to feeling successful beyond the bottom line.